Look at this seemingly normal moment. A high schooler named Miko bends down to retrieve a dropped coin from the pavement. She dropped that coin on purpose. It gave her an excuse to crouch down and safely observe the tiny, cowardly spirits hiding in the shadows beneath the vending machine. But her curiosity backfires instantly. Instead of a timid little spirit, she finds herself face to face with a massive, terrifying mother entity that traps her in immediate proximity. This diagram illustrates the brutal logic of Miko's reality. If she makes eye contact, the ghost becomes aware of her sight, resulting in her immediate death. A dropped coin instantly transforms into a psychological hostage situation. Every twitch and every natural human reaction carries a lethal penalty. The mother entity goes on the offensive to test Miko's composure, aggressively slamming a decaying hand right next to the coin on the pavement. Fear completely overrides Miko's nervous system. Her fingers shake violently. She is physically incapable of grasping the metal. Watch how this completely random intervention saves her life. A crow swoops down and snatches the coin, giving Miko an excuse to walk away. But random bird interventions aren't a reliable survival strategy. From this moment forward, staying alive requires Miko to deliver an Oscar-worthy performance of absolute ignorance 24/7. Retreating to her home bathroom, Miko finally gets a chance to exhale, wash her face, and mentally reset. The sanctuary is a lie. She looks up to find a spirit standing directly behind her in the mirror, twisting its neck at unnatural angles to force a direct line of sight. This vector diagram breaks down her active defensive strategy, plausible deniability. By aiming her vision sharply downward, Miko intentionally breaks the spirit's line of sight without revealing she knows it's there. She aggressively rubs her face, acting out the frustrating, entirely normal experience of getting soap in her eyes to justify keeping her head buried in the sink. She maintains this exact posture for 20 agonizing minutes, all while a lethal entity hovers inches from her spine. The terror here stems from paralysis. She can't run or fight back. She has to stand perfectly still and silently endure being hunted. Moving to her bedroom, Miko tries a traditional approach, placing a bowl of coarse salt in the corner of the room to ward off evil. She scours the internet for prayer beads and amulets, desperate for a permanent external shield to protect her while she sleeps. This shifting blanket captures the exact moment her sanctuary is breached again. Something unnatural is moving underneath the covers with her. She lifts the fabric to find a grotesque spirit child huddled in the dark, staring up and calling her mommy. This chart tracks the failure of her physical defenses. The salt bowl she set up rapidly depletes, offering zero protection. Watch as those failing external layers strip away, leaving a single isolated node, Miko's own mind. Her last resort is complete dissociation. She silently pulls the covers over her head. She forces herself to completely ignore the visceral physical sensation of a monster sharing her mattress. When physical walls and folklore fail, spatial boundaries disappear entirely. The only remaining sanctuary in Miko's world is her rigorously controlled mind. The next morning brings the bright, bustling halls of her high school and a perceived absence of supernatural threats. Then, this seemingly harmless action occurs. A friend playfully grabs her shoulder from behind, but Miko's reaction is violently disproportionate. She launches herself against the nearest wall, consumed by raw terror. Her nervous system is completely fried. After a night of extreme psychological suppression, her brain can no longer distinguish between a friendly greeting and a lethal ambush. Seeing her friend, Miko makes her first critical error. She lets out a deep sigh of relief, drops her guard, and casually scans the hallway. That brief lapse is immediately exploited. A dark spirit lurking in the corridor instantly locks onto her gaze. Survival in this ecosystem offers no finish line. It is a permanent, exhausting psychological war, where exhaling for even a second carries a fatal cost.